Old Crow. Is this stuff as bad as you might think it is based on the price? Let's find out.
I'm a complete beginner looking to improve my palate and learn more about bourbon, so come along with me.
All right, this is about as inexpensive of a bourbon that you can get. I mean, a 750 is probably about $10 or $11. I think this is about $17 for a 175. So very, very inexpensive bourbon. But is it any good or is it terrible? Let's find out. Let's go ahead and open it up. I'm going to go and crack this guy and we'll pour him and let him sit out for a little bit and kind of maybe let it breathe. We'll pour a good pour. And just some facts about Old Crow. It's 80 proof. It's aged 3 years. It's from the Beam Company. It's 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% malted barley. And it's really the same mash bill as Jim Beam White Label. It's named after Dr. James Crow, and it was the first sour mash bourbon. I think he invented, or at least pioneered, the sour mash process. This was the best-selling bourbon up until World War II. It was a favorite bourbon of Presidents Ulysses S. Grant and Mark Twain. And back in the 60s, whenever you remember if Beam was putting out all these decanters and all the people in the 1960s with their sunken living rooms and shag carpet, they'd have a big wall of Beam dispensers. Old Crow actually got into that act too. They had a line of chessmen decanters. So Old Crow, this is a 10-year bourbon, and it was they had a full chess set that you could buy of decanters. And those now, you can buy the bottles for about $30 if it's empty, but if it's full, it goes upwards of $2,000. So $2,000 for a bottle of Old Crow. But I think this was in the 1960s. And in the 1970s, they say Old Crow kind of fell out of favor. They kind of lost the original setback, and something happened to the yeast, and they just say that it just kind of went downhill. And then Beam purchased them in the 80s, and now it's really the same mash bill as the Jim Beam White Label. It's just only aged 3 years. So let's go ahead and give it a try. I'm going to go ahead and set up the other bourbon that I've been drinking for the past week, and I'll retry that, and then we'll give Old Crow a try. All right. As part of my palate improvement project for the last week, I've been drinking Ancient Age, and it's a Sazerac brand. It's the same mash bill as Blanton's, I believe, or some of the other really, the allocated bourbons, and it is 80 proof, and it's actually not that bad. It's a very Actually, I'm starting to really, really like it. This is something that I think is really good. Just sitting out on the deck with my feet up on the fire pit, nice big glass with a piece of ice, and sipping on it. And it's pretty good, as you can see. I've been kind of enjoying it over the past week. So let's go ahead and give it a sniff and a taste. I do get more of a honey is what I've been getting. I don't know if I had that note when I first tried it. I think I really wasn't really too sure about it when I tried it first last week. I felt it kind of tasted kind of thin, kind of maybe kind of watered down, but it's only 80 proof, but it is pretty good. So I'm going to give it a taste. Yep. And caramel, and honey. No real bite, no real peppers or spices or anything. Just actually pretty good. And man, over the rocks is really where I've been enjoying it. A nice big glass like this, I'll put about 2 fingers and sit out for about an hour with a nice good cigar and some of this. Yeah, it's been an enjoyable week. So I've really been enjoying the Ancient Age. I mean, really enjoying it. All right, so let's try the Old Crow. And this is the bourbon that you always see, like, I just have the image of Bugs Bunny making fun of this, or, you know, some of the Looney Tunes cartoons making fun of Old Crow bourbon. So, but it has a historied past. I mean, they say it's not what it was back in the day, but we'll give it a try and just see what pretty much almost what the cheapest bourbon you can get, what it's going to taste like. So it has a different smell. I hate to say this, but it kind of smells kind of musty. And I've seen reviewers review this blind, not knowing what it was, and they thought it was, you know, single malt Scotch and God knows what. I mean, just they were raving about it, and then oh my God, it's just Old Crow. So, one thing I heard is the reviewers say that it didn't taste like bourbon. So, but let's go ahead and give it a try. But yeah, just has a little bit of a musty smell. So. Oh, there's just a tiny bit of sharpness to it. But I'm not really sure. It does taste a little different. It really does taste different. I don't really know how to describe it. Maybe a peppery taste? Just a little bit of peppery taste. It's different. It's not, I wouldn't call it bad. Just a little different. So let's go ahead and we'll try over ice. It's a little tiny bit sharp, but kind of a peppery taste. I wouldn't say it's bad. I mean, I'm not gonna like use it to degrease parts of my car. It's not like that. It's not the best bourbon I've ever had. It's just a little different. So I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and drink this over the course of a week, and then come back next week and give my impressions of it. I will say that my impressions of Ancient Age have improved. I really like Ancient Age. I like sipping on it, just sitting out in the, like I said, on the patio and having a nice glass of this with a piece of ice, and very nice. So let's see how this tastes and how it improves over the week, or if it changes over the week. If you'd like to do this too to improve your palate, come along with me on this journey. Pick a bourbon that you have or that you'd like to try. Taste it by itself. Smell it, taste it. What are you tasting? What are you smelling? Drink it over the course of a week, and then come back a week later and then taste it again and see, have your taste changed? Has your impressions of that bourbon changed over the course of the week? You know, are you tasting anything new, anything different? Has it improved? Has it got worse? Just, you know, how has your palate changed? So do this with me. Doesn't have to be the bourbon, like I said, that I'm doing. But if you want to try this, it's pretty cheap. You can get it $7.50 for about $10. Or this 175. I think he was like $17. So come along with me, and in the meantime, enjoy.